Hey there, everybody. How's it going? Welcome back to another awesome episode of On the Throttle with Jacqui Van Ham and my buddy Josh, bringing you all the news going on out here in motorcycles and power sports. We are back in our more preferred by Josh environment. I am several
Yes.
hundred miles away. If you're a regular watcher of the show,
Yes.
last week we had a very special edition for the first time in like a year. We actually shot together in the home studio back in Ohio. Huge thanks to everybody at Babcock's and Motorcycle and Power Sports News for helping us put on an awesome show last week back at the
Agreed.
headquarters. But we are back to our normal platforms out here, bringing you all the newest news. For this week's show, I've got some pretty cool news, if I do say so myself, of a couple of, it's a tale of two e-bikes, Josh. Two very different companies, both putting out e-bikes that do completely different things. What are you talking about on today's show, Josh?
The orange people may have realized that they made a mistake or maybe just missed an opportunity. And I think we've got spy shots of them correcting that. And then on top of that, a lot of cases when we think if government's going to do something, we're thinking this is never going to be a good thing. But I think they may be doing something correctly here. So I will talk about both of those today.
I am totally intrigued, but we're all going to have to wait because first we've got a word from our sponsor.
There are still billions of dollars available for businesses through the Employee Retention Credit Federal Tax Credit Program. Stenson Tamaddon has helped companies with less than 500 employees retrieve over $3.4 billion in tax credits through employee retention credits. Call Stenson Tamaddon today at 866-934-8461 today to start your application. That's 866-934-8461 to apply. Call now.
Well, as promised, this week's show, very exciting if I do say so myself. We always work hard to bring you all of the newest news and awesome things going on out here in motorcycles. As always, you can go find all of our previous
First.
episodes out here on the interwebs. Whether you prefer to look at your media over on YouTube or on the Facebook, we have got you covered. All of our previous episodes live over there, so make sure you go check them out. So, my first story for today, as promised, a tale of two very different e-bike companies. This caught my eye because this is what in the Snowmageddon Snowpocalypse vehicle is going on from the folks up in Canada. And in case you're wondering, I've got the
Makes sense.
vehicle for you. And it is this awesome new machine from a company called Dayak. And this is known as the Combat e-bike. Already I was intrigued. Combat, very aggressive looking, very cool little machine. This is indeedly new. This is an e-bike, but the story doesn't stop there. The Dayak Combat e-bike is a powerful electric vehicle that can be used all year long. Say what? Because it snows like crazy in Canada. No matter the terrain, dirt or snow, the Combat can fight them all. The Combat e-bike comes with rugged off-road tires and a complete kit to convert for snow that can be done in less than 1 hour. It comes with a 4,800 watt lithium battery pack for a range of up to 80 kilometers. It is Canada after all, or 50 miles down here, and a 500 watt motor with a top speed of 70 kilometers per hour or 44 miles per hour down here. So I thought this was super interesting. It's got that 50-mile range, claims it'll do 44 mile per hour, which is bananas, and climb the mountain up to 35-degree. The Founder Edition, which is kind of like the pre-sale edition, they're doing a limited run of 1 through 100. It is a numbered edition, will not break the bank too badly. It starts out at 13,995 Canadian, which is just over 10,000 US dollars. Let's keep on trucking, Ashley, and look at this thing in its snow gear. Look at how awesome this guy is. I love those big chunky tires. Keep on trucking. And let's go see the snow edition. It should be my third slide. There it is. Oh my goodness. Look at how insane this machine is. This thing does it all. It's got those big chubby dirt tires. It's got a swappable battery. It's got, oh wait, it might not have a swappable battery. That might be my next e-bike. But either way, super cool. It's got a range of 50 miles, plenty of juice, and it goes 44 miles per hour. It says it can be converted in less than hour from dirt to snow machine. I thought this was super awesome. The pre-sale has already kicked off. Again, this is the company Dayak. I was not familiar with this company either, so I also wanted to talk about that a little bit. This is a Canadian-based company. I thought that was really interesting and kind of off my radar, so I want to chat about them a little bit. Again, these machines will be available in dealerships this summer for that first 1 through 100 run. The next run following is when they're considering their kind of like full to retail situation. Those machines will be at $14,999, so they're knocking about $1,000 off Canadian if you buy into the program early, and they will be available next year. How cool is this machine? Josh, what do you think about this Dayak Combat e-bike slash snow machine?
So the first thing when I saw the bike was that is just going to cause a lot of hospital visits. Because I mean, every single one of us that is interested in a bike like that, we are going to get on it and we are going to do dumb things. Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah,
do dumb enough things on other bikes, but it encourages dumb things, and that's why we love it. And you're going to ride it around the yard. You're going to tear through the woods with it, and you're just going to have an
yeah,
absolute riot with it. I don't know how street legal it is, but nonetheless, if it is,
yeah.
it would be amazing. If not, I'd still be okay with it, because just in the yard, yeah, I mean, what a hoot, what a great idea. And the fact that you can turn it into a sled like that, perfect. I mean, this is
Yeah.
the type of stuff that more manufacturers need, because it creates a niche for them to fit into, rather than just going out and trying to compete with everyone else. They're like, hey, you want something cool to go get hurt on? We got your thing.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, I have seen versions of motorcycles that are converted into snow machines and they have
Oh, for
tracks
sure.
on the front and all sorts of things. I actually took a picture. I was up in Canada just last week, which is also why I kind of wanted to talk about this bike a little bit, because I just got back from there. I visited a great dealership called Ottawa Good Time Center. Hello to all those folks. Anyway, they had a bike on their showroom floor because it is Northern Ontario, Northern-ish Ontario.
Yeah.
They do get snow. They do go
Yep.
play in the snow. So they had a
Lots.
KTM that was fully converted over to be a snow machine. And I also took a picture of that because down here in Kentucky, we don't really see those types of machines very often.
No.
But this caught my eye. I thought this was just $10,000 worth of straight hoonery
Yep.
shenanigans. I thought this looked like a real good time. And yeah, it's on the website now.
Exactly
They
it.
are taking orders. They are in a pre-order situation. Again, this is the Dayak Combat e-bike. Go check it out for yourself. If you're looking for the ultimate machine to hoon around on, I think this is going to take the cake. And it's an e-machine, so I thought that was pretty cool too. So anyway, that's my first story for today, chatting a little bit about a tale of two separate e-bikes. My next story will be coming up after Josh. Josh, what do you got going on for your first story today?
The other thing is that website, I may not visit that because that could be an expensive website visit for me. Nonetheless,
It'll
I
only be
talked
matched
about
by that hospital bill, Josh.
correct. So I last week talked about spy photos that some people grabbed of a KTM. Guess what I'm going to talk about this week? Some spy photos that people grabbed of another KTM. So people just grabbed these shots of the KTM, what is suspected or expected, or whatever expected word you put in there. It's either going to be the Adventurer or
Anticipated.
the Enduro. Yeah, the Adventurer slash Enduro 390. So when KTM put out the Adventure 390, very cool bike, very great price point. Got a lot of people into it, but a lot of people ran out of things first. Ran out of power, ran out of suspension, ran out of a lot of things before they got too far into it. These are the things that people like me lust after. So, I mean, you guys all know that I have a DRZ 400, and the reason why I have it is because there's nothing else like it. This, I think, could be the thing that pulls that from my cold, dead hands. So when you look at the two of them, they are very close to identical in terms of the frames. When you look at engine, subframe, swing arm, everything that we can see, even the bash plate, all looks very familiar. That bash plate does cover up the exhaust and the muffler on that. Here's a nice side view that shows you you can see on this version, there is a little bit more of the frame exposed, some of the swing arm. It's got that nice curved swing arm to it. So the Rally, if we can go back one picture, the Rally is the one that I'm, of course, super pumped about. This has the higher windscreen. This also has the higher set TFT that you can see right behind that windscreen there. And it's also got the vertical projector headlights. This is very much styled after the Rally / Dakar bikes, and it fits right in that realm to what it is. When we look at the Enduro, which is the next photo there, that is a very traditional dual sportish looking bike from KTM, but it doesn't look like KTM's bikes currently. So I'm kind of interested with seeing what they end up with that, whether it sticks more like their 500s or things of that nature. What we can see here too, both of them appear to have 21-inch front wheels. It's probably an 18-inch rear. Everyone that has seen these was tickled pink to see that they finally have what appears to be the spoked wheels on these. Something else that we kind of all talked about was 42 horsepower out of this, which is right in that perfect range. It's just fun enough to go out and do dumb stuff. This appears to have legs to, once again, do dumb stuff. You noticing a theme to anything that I normally like to do here? We're hoping to see a little bit of a retune on it, because obviously the 390 in its current state is a little bit of a high rever, and it would be nice to be able to tractor around a little bit more. So when? That is the big question. When and if and all these other stuff. So, because we released some spy shots like in May last year, kind of showing something, and I could see a couple of parts carrying over. With the spy shots coming out now, I would not be surprised if KTM actually releases something. They've got a schedule of 4 or 5 bikes that they're going to release over the next number of weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if this was one of them. I'm hoping that this is one of them. Santa, if you're listening, I'd really like to see that. One thing that I noticed that no one else is talking about, when you look at these bikes, the front brake is on the right-hand side in terms of where the rotor is. I found that very interesting, and I'm wondering why KTM did that, or I'm wondering if KTM's going to go end up with dual rotors on it, or what, because the front brake on this, it's a large single rotor. They're going to have duals. What was their reason for it? KTM's done weird stuff in the past. I had a KTM Duke 2 that had the Kickstarter on the left-hand side, which everyone looked at like there's no way I'm starting that. So they do some weird things. They're not afraid to push boundaries. I'm really, really, really excited for this bike, because this is finally in a space where there's no competition. And I think that's awesome for them to go after. And I'm stoked. I may end up emptying out my wallet on the table. What are your thoughts with not only this, Jacqui, in terms of these bikes, but with KTM? I mean, their timing on some of these spy shots. Do you think all these spy shots coming out at once are there's a reason to it, maybe, or what are your thoughts?
Super odd marketing to go ahead and throw some, chum into the water for all of us sharks to start swimming around and getting excited. No, so you're right. A couple of weeks ago, I did catch on the internet that KTM is going to start doing digital launch. There are some bikes coming. I thought it was actually sooner than now, and I think they did launch one of the bikes this past week.
We've got 2 of them
anyway.
now.
Yeah, so there's a series happening, and they're going to trickle them out. So it's not surprising that suddenly there's all these spy pictures and getting people with the KTM word in their mouth. It's been stuck in your mouth the last 2 weeks. But back to what we're talking about today. I totally support a little bit smaller displacement adventure bike being in this space. I think it is super, super, super on time. There is a bit of a crush right now of everybody trying to jump in the mid-size category. So, correct. I mean, why not cruise a little bit further down and create your own little space out here?
What's interesting about that too is there's been a couple of things coming out. Danilo Petrucci did a ton of testing on the Desert X Ducati. He liked it the best in the 75 horsepower mode. MotoGP guy that has run Dakar says this bike is best with 75 horsepower. All of these bikes are best with 75 horsepower, which tells you bikes like this, there's a reason a ton of us like the slow bike fast instead of the fast bike slow.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially in the off-road space, it's not really necessarily, I don't think about power. It's a little bit more about torque and about balance. Anyway, very, very cool. I do love the styling of these bikes as well. I love
Oh
the one
yeah.
that you really liked with the taller shield and all the luggage on it. Just super slick. I think it's just a great looking bike. And spokes, spoke tires. Yes,
Yay.
yes. I love that. I think they look great. So we're all gonna have to wait. As always, here on the Throttle, the minute all of these bikes are launched, we'll be bringing them to you here on the program. So make sure you hit notifications on.
I'll be
You are
dreaming.
not going to want to miss it. Not at all. So, my second story for today, while I am keeping on the theme of e-bikes, another very interesting e-bike company that you probably maybe haven't heard of because they're really, really, really
They're
new.
weird.
Just won the lottery, not literally, but pretty darn close because they went ahead
Yes.
and somebody on their team put together a heck of a grant proposal because the folks at brand new startup company, e-bike company, and it's Rhythm, so it's Ryvid. Sorry, I don't want to pronounce it wrong, but it's just kind of a complicated name. Ryvid, Ryvid, just snagged. Hang on. $20 million grant from the state of California to go ahead and start building machines out on the West
Is that more than you
Coast.
have?
That is so many more decimal points past
Correct.
where
Same.
where I live,
Same.
Josh. I cannot even wrap my mind around $20 million. So the reason why I thought that this was incredibly interesting is, again, this is a very startup, really new company. To be handed a check for $20 million is a bit of a clutch my pearls moment, but I do really like the bikes. I like what they're doing. I like the space that they're in. If you missed it,
Yeah.
I did bring this to the show's attention many weeks ago as a little bit of a scoop here on the show because we do like to catch all of the newest and most breaking news. The folks at Ryvid, just to give you a refresher in case you forgot, let's go ahead and talk about some of the specs of these really, really cool bikes. Um, because the Ryvid electric motorcycle is one of the most innovative light electric motorcycles that has been released in years. This bike is already taking pre-orders. They're going to start delivering next year, and they are going to be priced at less than $8,000. That's what really caught my eye as well. This is one of the first players that's doing a bike that is in a little bit of this bigger space. It's not an e-bike bicycle. It definitely looks, feels, and acts like an e-bike motorcycle. For $7,800 is their MSRP. So this is what is super, super shocking, is that price tag and how good this bike is. The battery on this is a swappable battery. That much I do definitely know. The bike is going to be a little bit less, of course, feeling than something much larger like the Livewire or Energica, and those bikes are like $30,000 motorcycles, so it's not gonna have quite that much zip to it, but it is gonna weigh about 240 pounds. It will go up to 75 miles per hour, which at 240 pounds, that is quite a bit of
Wow.
return on that investment. This is going to have, I think, about like a 50-mile range. That's kind of where everybody lives. And again, yes, 50-mile range in sport mode, has a 75-mile range in eco mode. And again, it does have a 65-pound swappable battery. So you can charge and carry one with you to really increase that range. So they are definitely doing very interesting things over there. They did snag that $20 million grant. Now let's get into the details about that. So they snagged that grant to base its operations in the Golden State with the grant funding. Ryvid says it will establish its headquarters in Hawaiian Gardens and open up a manufacturing facility in San Bernardino in 2023 and base its lithium battery manufacturing facility in El Cajon in Southern California. Ryvid says it is now in tooling production for its Anthem Launch Edition electric motorcycle. Interestingly, they claim that the first deliveries will begin in the summer of 2023. But with the company just now in tooling production, some wonder how Ryvid plans to deliver bikes that quickly. During this time frame, they'll have to go from building its tooling to finding and outfitting a factory facility, set up a production line, and go to full-scale production in about 10 months or less. Very interesting. We are all going to have to wait and see what happens over there. I will be following that story very closely. I think this is a really exciting bike. It is a really exciting time for e-bikes in general. I am here for it. Josh, what do you got to say about this story?
It's interesting that the 10 months seems tight, but looking at this bike, I believe it is designed to fit that. My dad spent years teaching manufacturing technology, so I learned a little bit about that. I got to tour some interesting factories, and this looks possible. It looks tight, but it looks possible, especially when someone just wrote you a $20 million check. So those things, I mean, it's a cool looking bike.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. And to me, there appears to be quality stuff, but simple stuff. And that's why I like it. And I think it's pretty unassuming looking. I think people are going to dig it.
Yeah. And the other thing, just to touch on this bike again, it's a super neat design. It has tons of adjustability built into the bike.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't really cost any extra to make the foot peg be movable up and down or to make the, bars. I don't know if these bars are adjustable, but just my point is, it doesn't really cost that much extra to add a lot of adjustability into these machines. And I know that this bike does have a lot of adjustability on board as well.
It does.
10 months is super tight, but I do agree with you. For all intents and purposes, this is a frame, a battery, a pair of wheels.
Yep.
That's
And the
about
rest
it.
of the
That's
parts
about
are
all that's happening.
outsourced
Yeah.
and bolted to it. So no, it makes perfect sense. I can see it happening. Doesn't mean they're not going to be in a hurry, but I can see it happening.
Yeah. It means they're literally going to have to get on the gas or battery, as it were. They're going to have to get
Yeah.
on the battery and they're going to have to keep on cranking out there. But I'm really excited to see where they go. And that $20 million, I imagine, probably will help quite a bit. Now, what do you got for your second story today, Josh?
If you are headed to Utah and you plan on riding off road, which of course, if you're headed to Utah, I don't think you're doing that to ride on roads. As of February 1st, 2023, you will need to have a license in order to do so. This was part of Utah House Bill 180. Of course, yes, I had to pick a picture of a DRZ out in Utah. Thank you. Um, as part of Utah House Bill 180, this is the Off-Road Vehicle Safety Education Bill. Yes, I had to look at my notes on that because that title is so long. It was passed last winter. This is basically to give a simple test in order to make sure that you are proficient with most off-road riding stuff. I've got some of the information that the Utah Parks and that set out here with this. They say it's a course. It's a free online course. It is something that typically takes 15 to 30 minutes. You do it once. It's like your motorcycle license. You take it once, you got it for life. The other nice thing that I like about this is that it's $35. This is not, hey, pay us $10,000 in order to get your license in order to do anything. It's 35 bucks, which you're probably going to spend in fuel anyways. So what is this course about and what is its goal? It's about respectful and sustainable use. And to me, that's what a great thing to focus on. And I think they've really done this right. From everything that I've seen for it, it includes a public service video, which those are great usually for a nap. But overall, it's really to make sure that everyone at least has heard the conservation, the sustainability items, and just the general being respectful of others. So many people don't even think of some of the things that they do because it hasn't occurred to them. So if a course like this is able to tell them, the big thing that I see with this is I like this. I mean, once again, all of us get a little kind of queasy when we hear the government is stepping in and helping us manage what we can do. We're all a little bit like, oh. But this to me, I think is a good thing because it is geared to ensure that we've got usage of these state lands for years to come. If we just let things run rampant, I see things becoming an issue and I see it becoming tougher and tougher to get on these lands. This, to me, I think it's a win. I'm hoping that this is effective as they hope it is too. I'm excited to see the results of it. What are your thoughts on
Yeah,
that, Jacqui?
Utah is absolutely on my bucket list. I am just as shocked as you are that I have not managed to make it to Utah with a motorcycle yet. I don't know how I have failed this mission. It is absolutely one of the most spectacular places in the United States to ride. My friends that go and post photos, I want to punch myself in my own face that I have
Yep.
not gone. Yeah, so I am absolutely on board with going and riding Utah. I totally get where they're coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not alone in this. Loads more people are going and riding out there, and unfortunately, with more people comes more problems, right? So there's
Yep.
more trash, more litter, more possibly harming plants and things and stuff. So if we've got to kind of, give people a little bit of education before they go out there and just brap around and do whatever they want to do and dump gas and whatever, it's what we're going to have to do. It's what it's
Yeah.
going to take. So I'm here for it. I support it. This is on my to-do list. So maybe I'll just go ahead and just take this course, and it'll give me one more reason to pack up my camper van and throw a couple dirt bikes in it and head out
You need to.
west. So I need to. You and me both, my friend. You and me both. And that, my
Yes.
friend, is going to wrap up today's program. But before we sign off, I just wanted to go ahead and
Wow.
those jingling bells can only mean one thing, and that is that Santa is on the way. Our show coming up for next week, it is going to be a doozy. We are going to be featuring top moto gifts. So make sure you come on back. You are not going to want to miss it. I promise you. We're going to find stuff that you probably never even heard of, never even
Am I going to
thought
get
of, and you are not going
more than coal?
to well, I know I've heard of you getting a lump of coal, so that's going to be the same thing as
Maybe.
usual. But no, all jokes aside, Josh and I are going to do our best to bring together a real whiz
Yes.
bang heck of a holiday program talking about awesome gift ideas for the holiday season for the motorcyclist in your life, or heck, treat yourself. Buy yourself something nice. Buy yourself something shiny. We're going to have that show
Yes.
coming your way next week. So make sure you don't forget, hit the notifications on. You are going to want to come on back and not miss it. Have a great week, everybody. See you next week.